It's Derby della Madonnina time in Serie A, and we had some crazy midweek madness in the Prem.
We got battles of Heims and Bergs in Germany, and it is must-watch football in Spain with some of the best matchups of the season. All of this and more in this episode 121 of the No Business Soccer Podcast. Snooze, kick us off.
Let's dig in. Welcome back to the No Business Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, Snooze, and we got the full fam today. J-Fam, the Brainiac, hanging out in the back. Danny P on the ones and twos. But, of course, everyone's favorite hype man, Vic. What you sipping on, dog?
Well, it's been a while. I've been doing all these scotches because, of course, I'm going to Scotland, Ireland in April. But I'm going back to the OG, and I've brought this bottle up a few times. You probably already know what it is. Lagavulin 16-year-old. It's like drinking a campfire, and something I know you don't really like snooze, but it is absolutely marvelous. No stewed cherries, J-Fam. Don't worry about it. But you do get a lot of that peat smoke, and then you get a little bit of like green apple on the end too. But once you get past all that peat smoke, but while I take a sip of this elixir, did you want to say something? You can go for
it. Go ahead. Finish.
I was just going to say, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to say, hey, maybe these guys are pretty cool to listen to every once in a while. And it's the best way to, get us out there. Cheers, everyone.
That was nice. That was a nice one. What I was going to say is, how come I love mezcal but hate scotch? Both smoky, but I don't understand. So maybe when you go to when you go to Scotland, you can ask them, like, what's the process that you do? And why is it so unique, just tasting like burnt tires, And then they'll probably help you out there. You won't be able to understand.
Completely different. Yeah, it's completely different. But yeah, I'll ask them what the difference between scotch and tequila is, just for you.
All right. I appreciate it. one's in Mexico, and we're really far from that. Yeah, we're really far from that. All right. We got a full slate to cover here. Of course, we had the midweek madness that just happened not too long ago in the Prem. As you can tell, I'm very excited to talk about that. We also have a full slate in the Serie A, Bundesliga, and La Liga to cover for this weekend. There's also FA Cup this weekend if you're into that sort of thing. But before we go over the pond and check out the European leagues, we're first going to touch down here, boots on the ground in Austin, Texas, for the Austin FC Minute.
Yes, sir. It's going to be pretty quick this time. Austin FC just do have a game this weekend. They play Charlotte, and it's good because it's an East Coast game, and you know what that means, Snooze? It's an hour earlier because they're an hour ahead.
Yes, I love that.
6:30. Yes, it's going to be great because there's some awesome UFC fights this weekend as well, so we get to cut out a little bit early and go watch the UFC fight.
Who's the headliner?
That's Holloway and my coworkers called him Oliver, but Charles Oliveira.
Charlie Olives. Yes, Charlie Olives.
Nice. And it's for the BMF title, so it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, they are starting this year off strong in the UFC. They got some big matchups. Golly. Crazy.
They just signed that deal with Paramount. They gotta do something to get everybody get in the subscriptions. But that is the game this weekend. The other part or the news that dropped is that Austin FC has its League Cup matches in August. August 6th, they face Tijuana. August 9th, they face Puebla. And then August 13th, the big one, they're going to be playing Club America, which is going to be freaking awesome.
Where's that one at?
All in QT Stadium. We get two of those tickets. The other ones were opted into, but they're all at Q2 Stadium because we're a host city as well. But we will definitely talk about that more as we get close to August. Of course, we have the whole World Cup to go through before we get there. But just a fun little note that we all got today.
I have questions though already. I saw the email we're season ticket holders. In case you didn't know, Austin FC represent. What up? You said 3 games. We only get 2 tickets, so they're not going to give us the Club America tickets, is what I'm hearing. You're going to give us the other ones?
No, it's like that thing where you're opted in. You have to opt out if you don't want the tickets, but it's an extra charge.
Okay, so I see. So we get 2 tickets with no charge, and then we get
I think most of the tournaments we only get 2 2 rounds of tickets or 2 sets of tickets.
I get it. But so we get
further, we get to opt in, or we have to opt out of those.
So we do get to go see Club America. We get tickets to that. If they charge us.
The only one we don't have is Tijuana on August 6th.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, we're good.
You know,
we have a good
I'm about the matchups. So. Okay. Anyway, sorry. I know everybody else is probably not too worried about that, but hey, I like to have a good time. My dad, got to get out. That's like my my bro time right there. That's I think I don't know if I said it on the pod before, but I would love to take my daughter to a game and just see her and enjoying it and dancing to the music and everything. But also, I go to watch the game, and if she's there, I'm not watching the game. So like, we tested it out. It didn't work. It's dad-ass time at the game. It's bro time at the game. So anyway, all right. No, that's understandable. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Well, we have a full slate to get into, Vic. So I think we should hop right into it. So let's go. I thought I had something else to say, and I can't remember off the top. So if I remember, if it comes to me, I'll bring it up. But let's first go to Italy.
Let's do it to Serie A.
Yes, we're starting in Italia, which is, despite what Victor said about, Paramount and needing subscriptions, this is the real reason that Paramount Plus is on the map, because that's where Serie A is, baby. So let's go. And we start with the news and notes from Serie A. And one big news to talk about, or piece of news to talk about, Weston McKennie is staying in Turin. The U.S. men's national team midfielder has signed an extension with Juve through 2030. His contract was up in June of this year, but he had spoken to the press expressing his admiration, his desire to stay in Turin with Juve, and it looks like his performances on the pitch were enough for Juve to strike that deal, and we will see him in, what are they called? Pinstripes? Black and white? It's not really pinstripes. Black and white stripes? The zebras come next season, and for a few more seasons. And Weston McKennie definitely been one of the better players for Juve throughout the whole season. So cool stuff. And it's going to be cool that we can watch him playing for a while at the top of his game in a big league. Okay, Vic, I think we're ready.
All right, let's do it. Those are your top headlines. Let's talk about the top matches for Serie A Matchday 28. And your first match is a surprising newcomer in Sassuolo taking on our lackluster Lazio.
You couldn't have said it in the summer, but as things stand, Sassuolo are the A side in this matchup, while Lazio is the B side. And our Lazio have been absolutely terrible this season. It's quite the opposite for Sassuolo, though. They're newly promoted, so of course their scale is a bit different, but they have been shocking Serie A since probably the beginning of let's say December. They've kind of went on a run since then, and especially in the 2026 timeframe, they've been absolutely incredible. For just one night, if our Lazio, though, can just remember that they are the bigger team, that this is what they were born for, this is where they do their business all the time, and Sassuolo is the new kid on the block, then they can go ahead and get this, I would say, upset now, because Lazio are not doing great. But, I mean, on the other hand, we talked about Como trying to get into Europe a lot, and that they're right there in their second season to do that. Sassuolo can get there in their first season and without all of the stature that has come with Como into the Serie A. So it's just a really cool thing that we're seeing from them. I think it'd be, if they get into Europe, it would definitely be more impressive than the run that Como's on, for sure. But right now, Sassuolo aren't the shiny new toy with the cash owner, with the influx of cash and the flashy owners. I just think that they are a team that is playing the right way, and they feel like an old school team that is just ready to make some upsets, shock the world, and maybe not the world, but at least Italy. But we see that if they can get a win over Lazio, I think it'd be really, really cool. And that's why we're up here. And I want to just reiterate, it's not because Lazio's on the bill. It's because Sassuolo's on the bill.
And your second matchup is also the second leg of the classic Derby della Madonnina as Inter head to Milan.
The lead is a solid 10 points going in to the Derby della Madonnina, and it's not as pressure-packed because of that. But it's still one of the fiercest rivalries in all of Europe. It just won't have as much meaning because if Milan win, let's say they get those 3 points, Inter will still I would say 99% go on to win the Scudetto. And Inter are out of the Champions League, but they still have a chance to obviously get the Scudetto, and they also are still in the running for the Coppa Italia. And they have, I mean, they're in the thick of it with these trophies still on the line. But Milan, they basically have nothing. They have no Coppa Italia. They're not in Europe. They're not winning the Scudetto. There's nothing for them. So this is, as people say it, their Super Bowl. And we say that here in the States, right? Like that. This is their cup final. This is their chance for some glory, is to make a little unhappiness for their eternal rivals, Inter. I don't think that finishing second behind Inter is enough to call it a successful season. But if they finish second and they beat them and give them a little trouble on the way out, I think that they can start. Their fans could probably celebrate a little bit and go into that off season, especially the World Cup right around the corner, with a little bit of happiness. Because if you don't know this, Vic, Italy still might not make the World Cup. So there's not a lot of happy Italian fans right now.
No, not at all, especially my homie Christian, if you're still listening. Yeah. He's a little upset. But those are your top matches for Serie A match day 28. Let's go ahead and dive into the rest of the match day. And it starts Friday with Napoli welcoming Torino, and both sides are desperate for 3 points.
Napoli suddenly find themselves in a battle to stay in the top four, with Como and Roma right on their tail, keeping them honest the entire way. Torino shouldn't be too much of an issue for them, but it'll probably be a late winner and a 1-0, something like that.
We then move to Saturday with Como looking to take advantage of the poor form of Cagliari.
Como are so close to getting into the top four, and with the teams around them dropping points like Juve, Roma, Atalanta, and even Napoli, as we just said, they just need to take care of business against teams like Cagliari on the road, and they should be fine. But Cagliari on the road, it's not a pushover matchup. I think Como can get it done, though.
Next up is Atalanta looking to shake off their last loss, but they welcome an Udinese side who just ended a losing streak.
It's not an easy out for Atalanta, who fell to Sassuolo last weekend and now get mid-table Udinese. Granted, Udinese did just lose 3 straight prior to their win over Fiorentina, but still, I feel like Atalanta could bounce back here.
And Saturday ends with Pisa looking to take sole possession of 19th place, and they head to Juve, who have been just a shell of themselves the past month.
Juve haven't won any of their last 4 Serie A matches, and this one looks like it's set up to stop that slump. Pisa played Bologna pretty good on Monday night, but Juve are just too strong. If they don't get a win here, then it's a lot of trouble. But hey, their new extended player, Weston McKennie, maybe he's the hero here.
We then move to Sunday, as the Milkmen of Lecce welcome Cremonese. Winner stays out of the relegation zone.
Another big 6-pointer in the relegation battle as 17 and 18 go head-to-head. Cremonese are only outside of the drop zone because of their 1 goal better in the goal differential total. I don't know if that's the best way to say that, but you get my point. They're level on points. It's a big game for these two. I don't know if you are into this kind of stuff, Vic. It's like, I'm not going to say what it's like. But either way, if you like watching bottom-of-the-table clashes, then maybe you want to see this one.
Next up is, speaking of bottom of the table, Verona taking on a Bologna side that is on a run.
It feels like Bologna's chances at 3 straight seasons in Europe are fading fast, as they need to make up 8 points to just be in the 6th spot. But the way Juve are dropping points, it might be possible, but it needs to be starting here with 3 points against the bottom team in the table. And Verona, they can't beat anyone right now.
And then Sunday continues with our boys in purple, Fiorentina, looking to get back on the winning track, but they take on a Parma side that hasn't lost in 4 match days.
It's a slightly easier matchup for Fiorentina on paper, at least. After getting whooped by Udinese on Monday, they get an in-form Parma side who haven't lost any of their last 4 games, as Vic just said. And this is going to be a tough one for them. They can't afford to drop too many more points. I don't necessarily think this is a must-win, but they can't lose it. How about that?
And our next match has the Roma looking to stay in Champions League consideration spots as they head to Genoa.
Genoa are one of the many teams caught up in the relegation battle, and seeing Roma coming to town isn't the best prospect for a win. Roma have been really good since Milan came in, and they're still holding on to that last Champions League spot. So if they can get 3 points here, they can stake their claim for that last spot.
And your match day 28 ends with your No Business Soccer podcast. Top matchups, that was the Derby della Madonnina on Sunday, and Monday Night Football, that is Lazio and Sassuolo. We already talked about both of those, so we can go ahead and take a look at and get a refresher of the table. And there it is. There's the table. Of course, Inter are still on top. They have 67 points. They are 10 points clear of Milan, who have 57 points. Behind them is Napoli with 53 points. And then rounding out our top four is Roma. There you go. Couldn't roll my R there for a second. Whoa. Roma with 51 points. Followed by, and then tickling our top four is Como with 48 points. And then we look at the bottom of the table. We see the Milkmen. They have 24 points. They're also tied with Cremonese, who are in the 17th spot. The Milkmen are in the 18th spot in the relegation zone. And then also tied with them is our boys in purple right here, Fiorentina, in the 16th spot, all with 24 points and trying to stay out of that relegation zone. And the two teams that are going to be staying in that relegation zone no matter what happens this weekend is Pisa and Elis Verona. They have been a staple at the bottom there, holding up the rest of the table. Both have 15 points. We're gonna say it, but it's been that way for a long time.
I feel like we have we can say comfortably, we've been able to say comfortably that they're both going down. But man, all the way to Cagliari's not safe. Like, what is that? 6 points? 6 points and how many more games? 10? Something like that?
I think 10.
Gonna be 11. Close.
Yeah.
Gonna be close. We'll find out. But Fiorentina, man, they gotta get it together. Get a few more wins. You're right.
Please.
But pretty cool. We get to see, I mean, not that it's going to be the best game, but Cremonese versus the Milkmen, 17, 18. Get a little bit more clear down there. Understand what's going on. I was looking at the stat leaders while you were going over the table. It's crazy to me that Lautaro Martinez, he's the top scorer in Serie A right now. That's not the crazy part, just to clarify. The crazy part is the next two people, Duvicas and Nico Paz, both Como players, have 9 goals. And they are the tied for second for the highest goal total in Serie A, which only having 9 at this point shows you that there's not a lot of players that are performing too well in the goals department in Serie A. But the fact that 2 Como players are tied for second in that stats is crazy. And if you're curious, I don't know if you are, the person that is leading the assist category is also an Inter player. That is Federico Di Marco, who is probably going to be the MVP of the league once it ends. He has 13. The next isn't until you see Armand Loriente from Sassuolo with 6. No, why is he tied with? It's actually Jesus Rodriguez from Como with 7. It has him in, I don't know what's going on with that. But anyway, Jesus Rodriguez has 7. So almost double the next guy in the assists. So crazy stuff. Anyway, just thought that was interesting. That is it for Italy. Is it for Serie A? I think it is time, Vic, to move on to Germany.
Let's do it to Bundesliga.
Yes. I saw a video today of a dude who was trying the best German food in Texas. He's like traveling around trying to find it. And I was like, huh, weird. That's weird. But I guess, German food, we had a lot of German immigrants back in the day. So there's a lot of German restaurants, good food. I know that pisses off Victor because he, hype man Vic, because he absolutely despises German food. Just like hates it, bro. You know what I mean?
It's just that's all they had.
Think about it.
No. You do get tired. It's very easy to get tired of, though. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's true because our latest trip to Germany, to Frankfurt, we only had a true German, like what we ate every meal there. We only had that once. The rest of the time it was like, trying different things. Sausage here. But we had like the Donner, as they call it, which is some of the best stuff I had. So yeah, I can get I can get on that train now. But either way, this dude is going around Texas trying the best stuff. And shout out to Oma's house, I believe is what it was, in Smiley, Texas. I think is what it was too. I'm obviously butchering this because they're gonna be like, there's no Smiley, Texas, and there's no Oma's house. But either way, there's some kind of connection of those two. And if you can find it, apparently it's the best German food outside of Germany, as said by some Germans in the comments. So Anyway, interesting stuff. I guess that was our news and notes. I didn't have anything else. So, okay. And if you're wondering, that town was like outside of San Antonio by, I want to say maybe like
Oma's Schnitzel Ranch.
There you go. Yes.
Texas. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I wasn't too far off. Yeah. That place, everybody's like, no, don't make it famous. It's apparently people freaking love it. They were saying that they had some of the best food. That's not just like sausage and like schnitzels. It was actually a lot of other things. And yeah, we're gonna have to make a trip out there. It's probably what, an hour and a half from here, hour and 45 minutes. I mean,
let's check. I'll check right now. It is from my house anyway. Yeah, an hour and 30 minutes. It is
perfect.
San Antonio.
Look, we can do the next Bundesliga coverage from Oma's Schnitzel Ranch House or whatever.
So, pretty cool.
Yeah,
that would be pretty cool.
All right,
go watch a Bundesliga match there.
Yes. Get rowdy in the morning for them. They'll love that in Smiley, Texas. Yeah. All right, let's do it, Vic.
All right. Let's go ahead and talk about your No Business Soccer podcast, top matches and headlines for Bundesliga Matchday 25. And your first match is Leipzig, looking to stay in Champions League considerations, but they welcome an Augsburg side that is on a 3-game win streak.
Look, until Augsburg lose, I'll say that they are unbeatable because of this run they are on. I know they lost to Mainz 4 games ago, but it's been 3 straight losses after that loss, 3 straight wins after that loss, sorry. And they beat Bayern in that run, which is just insane. Leipzig are also starting to shape up and look like they're heading for a strong finish to the season. If you see their last game, Diamande starting to be a demon out there again. Demonande? Something like that. If Leipzig hit their heights, I know that they can, then this should be a win for them. But they haven't hit that too much recently, and Augsburg are just absolutely on a tear. I'm interested to see how this one's going to end up. I hope it's not just a big blowout for Leipzig and that Augsburg was just a flash in the pan. But the fact that they beat Bayern tells me that they can get something from this one, Vic.
And your second match is 14th place St. Pauli, who have won 3 of their last 4. But is it enough to beat 7th on the table, Eintracht Frankfurt?
St. Pauli are the disruptors right now. We talked about it last week, but for most of the season, they have been in the bottom 2, but they've won 3 of their last 4 games and are 3 points from the bottom 2 at the moment. That win over top 3 side Hoffenheim last weekend was massive. I realize I just said a lot of numbers, so hopefully you're stuck in with me here. The point is, they were bad. They're not bad anymore. They have been winning a lot more than they had all season, and it's just not for the points, but for the belief, the fact that they got the win over Hoffenheim, who are a top side, and they were playing like it, and now they can go toe-to-toe with some of the bigger sides and at least the sides at the top of the table and have a little bit more confidence that they can get something from that match. And that's what we're getting whenever Eintracht Frankfurt come to town, because they've struggled for so much this season. They're just outside the top 6, but they're playing much better now under Riera, and they look like they're gunning for a place in Europe. There's still a lot of work to do and not too much time to do it, but the way that these teams play should make this a fun watch with plenty of goals. I'm going to check it out.
And those are your top matches for Bundesliga Matchday 25. Let's get into the rest of the match day. And of course, it starts on Friday with the league leaders Bayern Munich welcoming Borussia Mönchengladbach.
Sucks for Gladbach, who finally get a win, and then it's right back to the grind with the trip to Munich to take on Bayern. It shouldn't be close, and it really does suck for Gladbach.
We then move to Saturday, and it starts with your No Business Soccer podcast top matchup. That was Leipzig and Augsburg. We already talked about that. So we go to Mainz, looking to get back to winning ways and away from relegation, but they take on the number 4s, Stuttgart.
Stuttgart are playing like the second best team in Germany right now, and they're starting to get hot. Mainz they've only lost once in the last 5 games, but they're without a win in the last 3. And they're just a point outside of the drop zone. So if they're going to stay up, they need to start getting 3 points. I don't know if they can do it against our Stuttgart, even though it is at home for Mainz.
And Saturday continues with the battle of the Heims as Hoffenheim go on the road to Heidenheim.
The Hoff. I didn't say the Heim. So the Hoff need to get back to winning ways quickly if they're going to finish inside the top 4. They've dropped points in back-to-back games, and it's opened up the race for Europe big time with Stuttgart, Leipzig, and Leverkusen all catching up to them very quick. Double H is going down. There's no room for error here. Hoffenheim absolutely need 3 points.
And from a battle of the Heims to a battle of the Bergs, Hamburg looked to turn things around against the tumbling Wolfsburg.
I saw these matchups coming up, and I'm like, man, he's going to love this. He's actually literally going to love this.
Always fun.
Hamburg have come back down to earth a bit with back-to-back losses. Well, Wolfsburg have been playing like they're about to get relegated, and they very, very well could be. I'd say this is a 6-pointer faux show, and if Hamburg can't get a win, then they might be in bigger trouble than they thought.
And next up are two teams just 2 places away from each other on the table, but 10 full points as number 6 Leverkusen head to number 8 Freiburg.
Damn, I didn't realize that. That's crazy. Feels like the Black Forest boys are going to be left behind in the fight for Europe, especially now that I just realized that they're 10 points behind Leverkusen. But I think that's fine for them. They'll still have a good chance of getting into the Champions League if they can win the Europa League. Might be bridge too far. I don't know, but they're still in it. They're in the round of 16. But their opponents, Leverkusen, they've only won once in the last 4 games, and that was beating Hamburg this past Wednesday. So this one's got some juice. I think it'll be fun to watch. And we'll see if the Black Forest boys can get it done. I kind of hoping that Leverkusen return a little bit to where they were under Xabi, because it's been I don't know, after all the never losing Leverkusen stuff, it's like they're just Leverkusen. Like they're just okay.
Yeah, I've been waiting to use that. I haven't been able to use it yet.
Haven't been able to.
And then Saturday ends with the best of the rest. Borussia Dortmund looking to put our cute little mascot Köln in direct relegation danger.
It's not a derby per se, but it is a regional rivalry of sorts, as they both reside in the North Rhine-Westphalia state of Germany. And I want our Köln to do better, but they are just not getting the results, and asking them to get something against the second in the table, that's a tough task. Their saving grace is the fact that Dortmund, they're out of every competition. They're really just making sure they stay in the top 4. So maybe there's a chance that Dortmund drop points because they just don't have the motivation anymore. I mean, they're out of the DFB Pokal. They're not in the Champions League anymore. They're not catching Bayern. There's just what is there for them to do other than just make sure they get into the Champions League next season? So saying there's a chance.
We then move to Sunday, and it starts with your other No Business Soccer podcast top matchup. That was St. Pauli and Eintracht Frankfurt. We already talked about that. So your match day 25 ends with Werder Bremen continuing to claw out of relegation as they head to Union Berlin.
That win over Double H was huge for Werder, who are now just a point from getting out of the relegation spot. And a road day with Union Berlin, who are sitting mid-table. That might be a tough one to win again, but a point is definitely possible. Union have only won once the last 5 games, and they've only lost 3 of those, but I think they're saying that there's a chance here for Werder Bremen. I mean, if they can get another win, or if they can at least get a point, it would be a very, very big deal. And then they can kind of return back to that disruptor status that St. Pauli has taken since they've started to go on their little run. We'll find out, Vic. Maybe it's a little teeter-tottering going on at the bottom of the Bundesliga table.
And those are your matches for Bundesliga match day 25. Let's go ahead and take a quick refresher of the table. Don't really need a refresher on the top spot because, of course, Bayern Munich are still your number 1s. They have 63 points, again, in the top spot, returning to form with 4 straight wins. And then you have the best of the rest, Borussia Dortmund in the number 2 spot with 52 points, a clear 11 points behind them. Then it's your can it be number 3's Hoffenheim with 46 points. And then tied with them and rounding out our top 4 is Stuttgart, also with 46 points. And then tickling our top 4 is RB Leipzig with 44 points. And then we look at the bottom of the table, you'll see Werder Bremen now taking up that playoff relegation spot there in the 16th spot with 22 points. And then you have Wolfsburg behind them in the 17th place with 20 points. And then holding up the rest of the table is still, of course, Heidenheim with 14 measly points. Get it together, boys.
Yeah, tough year for Heidenheim. But everyone else pretty close. I mean, the relegation battles are getting interesting in most of the leagues. Shout out Stuttgart, who've been playing well, who've been doing their thing, back into the Champions League spots as it stands right now. And I feel like I'm obligated to talk about the goals and the assist leaders because I did it with Serie A. But I think it's no surprise that Harry Kane is the goal leader in the Bundesliga. Vic, he has 30 goals. And looks like Dennis Undav is the closest with 14 after that. So less than half of what he has. Crazy.
Jeez, that's
assist leader.
I'm gonna keep talking.
Assist leader is Michael Olise for Bayern, and he has 13. So yeah, obviously Bayern have a great season, and it shows by the stat leaders.
Harry Kane has more goals than 8 Bundesliga teams.
Jeez. Crazy. The dude is just dominant. Absolutely dominant.
Been one of those years. Been one of those years.
Also, shout out to Luis Diaz. You remember him? He has 13 goals, which is third, and he's also tied for second with 9 assists. So having himself a grand old time over there outside of Liverpool. Okay, Vic, let's yeah, you guys could use a guy like him right now.
So good.
Okay. Well, that is it for the Bundesliga. Looking forward to all the action there. Let's move on now to Spain.
Let's do it to La Liga.
Oh, yeah. We got a lot of matchups here. It's actually hard for me. I usually only try to do 1 to 2 matchups to highlight, but I couldn't help myself with this week. There's actually a lot of good matches going on in La Liga and really around Europe. And there's not even a Premier League match day this weekend. It's a FA Cup weekend. So it's going to be fun. I can actually sit down and watch these without having to worry about too much else going on. I mean, I do have a family and like a life and stuff, but other than that, like I could just sit there and enjoy this all day. Hopefully, we'll find out. Actually, that's false. I'm going to be going to Houston. Hopefully, you know what? If it rains out, would that be the worst thing? You know, would that really be the worst thing?
I've gotten older, man. There's nothing like a good canceled plan, bro. It's like it's not hardly anything hits better than that, bro.
Top nice. 4 feelings you can have where you're like about to go all the way across to Texas, and then you're like, oh man, wait, I don't have to do that.
Damn, that's pretty nice.
You know, before we go, we have a new car seat because our daughter's just like growing like weed, as they say. I have to put in a new car seat before we go. I have to test it out. Still, like, there's just a lot of stuff that Dada Snooze has to do. So, but anyway, we got a lot going on. We also had I didn't even get everyone caught up on the cup action that happened. But the inside of the Copa del Rey, that's what it's called in Spain. We had Atletico Madrid fighting off Barcelona. If you recall, Atletico Madrid are up 4-0 in the first leg, and they just had to hold off Barca, and they came back with a vengeance. It ends 4-3, but Atleti just basically held on for that win, and they get to the final against none other than our American-led Real Sociedad, Rino Matarazzo. He takes care of business 1-0 against Athletic Bilbao again, or Athletic Club. Sorry, don't come for me. And so he wins the Basque Derby twice in this semifinal of the Copa del Rey, and now they'll be playing Atleti in the final. And that's cool stuff, Vic, because you'll find out whenever we get into this top match and headline why it's cool.
All right, well then let's jump right into it. We'll go into your No Business Soccer podcast, top matches and headlines for La Liga Matchday 27. Yeah, we're right this time. And your first match is Real Sociedad, still hoping there's some magic left as they take on the number 3s, Atletico Madrid, brought to you by the new Big Arch.
This one's also going to be the Copa del Rey final, as I just mentioned to you. So we got to see how this one plays out. Atleti know they still have a Champions League tie. That is a Champions League tie with Tottenham Hotspur, so not necessarily too much to worry about there. But they're decent in the table, and I think that they are okay with dropping points and still being in the top 4. It's just how it's worked out for them. But I'm curious how this one plays out because Real Sociedad are starting to knock on the door of Europe. After all the BS they went through this season, they could still have some type of success with that run. And also they're playing them and they can possibly get a Copa del Rey, which is just couldn't even think of that. It's hard to fathom the way they were playing earlier this season. But Rino Matarazzo has them 5 points from Europe and in form. Crazy stuff. But the fact that they play each other in a month or so for a trophy, it just makes me wonder, Vic, if they're going to go for it here or if Atleti more than likely would be holding back a bit so they can kind of come at them with more of a surprise factor in the cup. Because if you show all your cards now, they might be able to kind of tweak their tactics and figure out, okay, on film what they did and how they can stop it in the final. But I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I just have a feeling that it might not be the best watch from an Atleti standpoint, because even though they're not the team that likes to win games 1-0 anymore, they have a lot more firepower. They're scoring goals. They're actually fun to watch. It feels like one that they're probably not going to put too much into, which is great news for Real Sociedad.
And your second match is the rising Celta Vigo, looking to keep the misery going for Real Madrid.
Back-to-back losses for Real Madrid and back-to-back wins for Celta. Seems like there's some trouble brewing in Madrid as well with their star players and the organization. There's a bunch of drama and things going on. And when is there not in Madrid? It is almost unfathomable, though, that's what I was trying to say. Real Madrid will lose 3 straight games in La Liga. Just don't know if I'm sure it's happened. I just can't think of a time that I saw this, especially knowing that coming into this game, they're 4 points back from Barca. Celta seem like they've got their groove back and they're on their best day. We know that whenever they're firing fully, they can beat anyone. But man, can they give Real Madrid trouble knowing that they're coming in off back-to-back losses? Like, just feels like it's a bounce-back game waiting to happen. The issue is they haven't had many of their best days for a while, and this is talking about Celta Vigo. But this is a game that comes at a perfect time for Celta. If they could get a shock win at home, hell, even a draw would probably be fine. I think it would be an amazing thing to see, and it would also cause all kinds of chaos and pressure and, everything. Panic in the streets in Real Madrid.
And your third match is, actually, before I get there, I tried to find whenever there were 3 losses for Real Madrid in a row, and the AI overview gives me the 3 matches, but the second one, they won. And they tell me they won. I don't know what AI is doing. We're not going to be completely replaced by AI, you guys.
Don't worry. It's still a while.
And your third match is the league leaders Barcelona looking to widen the gap as they head to Athletic Club.
I was curious to see myself. Now I'm curious. Producers, can someone look that up? Just see if we can find it. I want to see last time that Real Madrid lost 3 games in a row in La Liga specifically. Yeah, not just thought I was going to sneeze there. Not going to. So Athletic Club versus Barcelona. Sorry. I was trying to choose between these 3 matches and which one I wasn't going to put in here, Vic. And I could not figure it out because all 3 of these have great storylines and they're all 3 matches between great teams. The fact that we can get 3 marquee matchups from top 3 clubs in La Liga in one weekend, that's pretty cool. And the fact that we cover 4 leagues and now we only have to cover 3 and there's the same stuff going on. It's going to be amazing. And especially if it's a rained out weekend, Vic, you know what I mean? Especially if it's a stay home weekend. Barcelona showed us that they're ready to take that next step after beating up on Villarreal and then almost coming back from a 4-0 down against Atleti in the Copa del Rey. They're just firing on all cylinders right now. And Pedri is back and he is getting minutes under his belt and they are just hitting their stride at the right time. But the spiciness in this match comes from Athletic Club, who are climbing their way out of the mess that they were in no losses in the last 5 matches, and they won 3 of those 5. They're starting to find ways to get points, and even though they probably didn't deserve points against Rayo this past weekend, they showed grit, they showed fight, and I think this is going to be a fun matchup. If we can get a fully firing Athletic Club, we know that we know what we will get from Barca. But it should be a goal-filled match that's going to be fun on Saturday afternoon. Hopefully, I'm right there with you watching it. Not physically, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I got you.
What's the word I'm looking for? Not like it's there you go. In spirit.
In spirit, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of that. Yeah. But those are your top matches for La Liga Matchday 27. We'll get into the rest of the match day. And it starts on Friday with your No Business Soccer podcast. Top matchup, that was Celta Vigo and Real Madrid. We talked about that. So we go to Saturday as Osasuna look to hand Mallorca their 5th straight loss.
Mallorca has a new manager, still hoping for a new manager bounce. It's not happening. Osasuna might not be the team that it happens against either because despite their loss to Valencia last week, and they have been in great form before that, it looks very, very bleak for Mallorca right now.
And your next match is Levante, looking to keep the winning feeling going as they welcome Girona.
Can Levante build off that win over Alaves and push out of the bottom 3? A win over Girona would go a long way to doing so, but Girona are hit and miss right now. They can beat Barcelona, but then they can go and draw with Alaves and lose to Celta. So I don't know what we are getting from them, but either way, I feel like Levante's win over Alaves was a fluke. We'll find out.
And Saturday ends with your other two No Business Soccer podcast top matchups. That was Atleti taking on Real Sociedad and Athletic Club going against Barcelona. Since we already talked about that, we go to everyone's favorite Sunday, as Elche are still searching for a dub, but this time going against the number 4's Villarreal.
Elche's play style be damned. They are about to be relegated, and if they can't find a way to just get a result, Villarreal, I mean, they're a very good team, and they could be going down soon if they can't figure this out. I think that even though Villarreal are running hot and they're running cold, they can still get it done against an Elche team that are just losing to everyone right now.
And Sunday continues with two teams that each just have one loss their last 6 match days. It's Getafe welcoming Real Betis.
Honestly, at this point, I'm not counting Getafe out of any game. Betis just lost their winning edge the past couple of matches, but with all the top 3 having tougher matchups right now, it's a great time for them to get 3 points and to start to make up some of that ground in the table. But again, Getafe, they just they're finding a way to get it done whenever nobody thought they could.
And next up are two teams both unbeaten in their last 4 games. It's Sevilla welcoming Rayo Vallecano.
Rayo just continue to surprise and impress. They're ignoring all the external BS in the club and just finding ways to grind out results. They're actually playing pretty well in the process. Jorge de Frutos has been killing it lately with 3 goals in his last 2 games. Sevilla's comeback against Betis seems more like a derby result than anything else. We'll see, but I have a feeling that Rayo can get something from this one. And if they can, they'll continue that impressive run.
And Sunday ends with Alaves begging for a win as they take on Valencia.
Begging for a win. Wow. Interesting choice of words there. Table neighbors and fellow relegation candidates as well. It's a 6-pointer because if there's a winner, that team can almost be assured that they'll stay up, but the loss would very well be costly come the end of the season. And even though they're not necessarily in that spot yet, they could be with a loss.
And your match day 27 ends with prime time Monday night football with 2 teams in forms that only a mother could love. As bottom of the table, Oviedo head to the free-falling Espanyol.
I like that. Oviedo are on their way down. Espanyol are on their way down from the European places to probably fall down to mid-table at this point. If they can't find a way to get 3 points here, then I'm not sure what happens. It feels like Oviedo have been going towards winning a match since they've had some good performances lately. But I mean, you would think that Espanyol can get it done, Vic, but I don't know. I honestly don't know. I feel like Oviedo will probably come away with a win or a draw in this one, but maybe that's just off of vibes. It's just because they're like the underdog that could, and they've been so close recently. We'll find out.
Who knows? We will find out, but those are your matches for La Liga match day 27. Let's go ahead and get a refresher of the table. Of course, on top are Barcelona with their 2-game win streak. They now have 64 points. They are 4 points clear of Real Madrid, who are on a 2-game losing streak. They have 60 points. And then behind them is Atleti and Villarreal, both with 51 points in the 3rd and 4th spot, respectively. And then tickling our top 4, which is 8 points behind, is Real Betis. They have 43 points.
That's almost not tickling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's pretty far out there.
Yeah, it's pretty. They're trying. That's like cupping.
They're reaching.
Reaching. Oh yeah, reaching. Why cupping? I don't know.
I don't want to get clipped or anything, so I don't know what I'll say. But let's go take a look at the bottom of the table in the relegation zone. You will see Mallorca there in the 18th spot with 24 points on a 4-game losing streak. They are followed by Levante with 21 points, just with a win, trying to get out of relegation. And then at the bottom of the table is Real Oviedo. They still have 17 points, winless in their last 4, but things were looking up, and they do have a pretty good shot this weekend based on forms.
Well, we will find out, Vic. There's good matchups, great stuff to watch. I just realized we could either just not do it this week, or we could do the best bets real quick. What do you say?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're also missing a league this week.
I know.
We can try.
Okay.
Let me see.
Pick your 2, and I'll pick my 2. I think off the top, I know I'm going. Yeah, you just pick 2 matchups. You can do from the same league. Doesn't matter.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
I think I'm going Sassuolo to beat Lazio, our Lazio. I don't like it, but I feel it's just bad vibes, so I'm going with that. That's one of mine.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I will
spicy
go.
One.
Are you? And that's just out of Serie A, right?
You can pick whatever the hell you want. You don't have to pick. You can pick two.
I'll do La Liga because it was up there, and I'm just gonna. I don't know if I want to shake things up because I was wrong on one. Well, I was wrong on one of them. I don't want to be wrong anymore. But let's go with somehow Athletic Club taking points away from Barcelona this weekend. I think it'll be a draw. It won't be a win. I think it'll be a draw. But they'll take some points.
You get a win or a draw. If you're taking an underdog, you get a win or a draw. Yeah. So I like that. Don't know. It's pretty ballsy, but we'll find out. I think my next one, it's not as spicy because I took Sassuolo over Lazio, which in form they should be able to do it, but I don't know if they're actually the favorites money line wise. So my other one I'm taking is Stuttgart over Mainz as a win. I don't want Mainz to lose that one, but Stuttgart. So I'm okay. I got Stuttgart over Mainz, and I got Sassuolo over Lazio.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of for Bundes, and I was just looking at it, was it's literally with my heart. I would never put any money on this, and I know we're doing best bets. But I think you probably even know what I'm talking about. But it's our cute little mascot, Colin, getting back to winning ways.
You can do two. You could do a draw and a draw or a win.
Mm-hmm. No, let's just do. I feel like that's bad. Let's just do Wolfsburg getting points off and winning the Battle of the Bergs against Hamburg. I'm going full win this time. Full win. Yeah.
All right. Wolfsburg over Hamburg. Okay. So then we have Sassuolo beating Lazio. We have Wolfsburg.
Athletic Club drawing with Barcelona.
And
I have Wolfsburg beating Hamburg.
And Stuttgart over Mainz. There we go.
Let it be known. Those are parlays. Go make your money.
Find out if we can get that. We didn't hit last time, but it's okay. We're it's our second one. We'll see how far we can get. And I'm feeling good about this one, Vic. So, but that's enough of the clowning around. Got to talk about the Prem. So let's go to England.
Let's do it to the Prem.
Okay, well, if you didn't know, we had a Premier League
rough weekend.
Midweek. Yeah, not even just a midweek madness, midweek crappy time for us here at the No Business Soccer. Not even all of us here, just us two on camera. Unfortunately, I don't even know why I'm laughing. But if you haven't seen the results, our boys in blue, Everton, did get that win over Burnley, which is a 2-0 win. We also had Liverpool. I don't know why I laughed at you. Like, that's messed up. Liverpool falling at Molineux to Wolves 2-1. It's not funny.
The mighty Wolves.
Yeah.
The mighty Wolves.
And you're pissing me off, too, because I thought that was going to be a win for Spurs, and it's definitely not. Arsenal got the win over Brighton, and that one was spicy because the Brighton coach, Fabian Hürzeler, had a lot of, I say cool things to say about the way that Arsenal are playing right now. And I saw a stat. Essentially, they were just wasting time. They're not attacking. They're sitting back. They're just trying to grind out games. And Fabian Hürzeler, who comes from a gegenpressing type of culture in the Bundesliga, and he was just like, I will never be a coach that plays that way. He just straight up said that, which is amazing to me. That is so cool. But anyway, they get the win there. And City draw with Nottingham Forest at the Etihad. It's 2-2. And that means that City are a full, what was it, Vic? 7 points?
They are 7 points behind now. They still have a game in hand, though.
Yes. Yeah.
So it could be 4.
Getting bleak, though, for them. But in other news, the teams that Spurs needed to lose, they won, or at least got a result, which that's Forest getting a point against City. And then West Ham beating Fulham. Fulham looked like world beaters against Spurs just last weekend. And then they come into this match and they lose 1-0 to West Ham, which is bad news Bears. And we'll talk about that in a second. Aston Villa falling to Chelsea 4-1. Chelsea, the same one team who just lost to Arsenal this past weekend, they beat up on Aston Villa. Aston Villa's in a free fall at the moment. We also had Newcastle, the 10 men of Newcastle, taking down Manchester United, giving Carrick's first loss 2-1. And if you haven't seen it, the winner was absolutely ridiculous. I can't remember his name. Ursula, what was his name? Osula, not Ursula. That's the chick from Little Mermaid.
Mermaid, yeah.
But no, Ursula, yeah, amazing solo. I don't know if you can call it a solo go, but he does all the main work. How about that? And then the headliner was today's match. That is Thursday. If you're watching this, yesterday, Tottenham Hotspur at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, losing to Crystal Palace 3-1, going down a man in the first half. Oh man, it is bleak times for Spurs, and so. I don't know. Do we have the table for the Prem, or do we just do the? Mm-hmm. Okay,
we do. I'll say. I think. Yeah, they downloaded it.
Yeah. There you go.
Here's your new look. So, as you can see, the top 3 of 4, or 3 of the top 4, all drop points, helping tremendously for Arsenal. But I can run through it real quick. Arsenal have 67 points. They're 7 points clear now. Of course, the rest of the teams except Wolverhampton have a game in hand, just because they played their week 34 early, I believe it was. Not sure. But Manchester City are behind them now with 60 points, and we have a 2-way tie for 3rd and 4th, with Manchester United and Aston Villa both having 51 points. And now tickling our top 4 is Chelsea with 48 points. They are ahead of my boys in red, Liverpool. They also have 48 points, but they are ahead in goal differential. Chelsea is.
Damn, and then look at the bottom of 10 goals. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And look at the bottom. It's able to see some green, which is crazy. West Ham is in the 18th spot.
It's bullshit is what it is.
You got a dub. They have 28 points. Burnley have a loss, but they had a pretty good run a couple weeks ago. They had 19 points, and then Wolverhampton making it 2 in a row. They said it couldn't be done. They have 16 points now. But the interesting thing, which Snooze, I'm sure you're about to dig into, West Ham have 28 points. They're tied with Nottingham Forest now in the 17th spot with 28 points, and then 1 point above them. 1 point above the relegation zone is your Tottenham Hotspurs with 29 points on a 5-game losing streak. That's the worst in the league, right? Yeah, it is.
You don't have to check, you don't have to you already knew that. You don't have to say it like that. Like, oh, that is the worst, right? Yeah, it's the fucking worst. Dang it! You made me cuss on it. It's the first time I've dropped an F-bomb on this. I have a lot to say about this. I have a lot to say about it, and I was trying not to say it all. Whenever we were like loading up, getting everything ready, but it's just so crazy that that it can actually happen, because you think about like my journey as a Tottenham Hotspur supporter started off by watching a clip of a North London derby. It wasn't a clip, it was like a hype video. And back in the day, it wasn't very easy to watch the Prem. It wasn't like we have now, where we have all the games at all times. We have like pretty much like a channel dedicated to the Prem, which makes a lot of the British followers jealous, because they have to go through a bunch of regulations over there, even the 3 p.m. blackout. Crazy stuff. Anyway, back to Spurs, though. I remember watching this hype video, and it was North London derby, and it was between all of these flashy-looking players in red playing for a team with a cannon on their crest, and it just looked like douchebags. They just looked like. And then you see this like little cock on a ball, and you're like, what is that? And loving losers at the time. It's just they were the underdog story, and I fell in love. I just at that moment, like, you know what? They ended up winning that match, and the person who got me into Spurs was none other than Gareth Bale. And in 2010, he makes his amazing appearance at the San Siro, where their Spurs are down 4-0. He comes back and gets a hat trick. Spurs don't win the game, but which is fine, because as a lovable underdog, you don't have to win. You just got to show heart. You just got to show spirit. And Gareth Bale became one of the top wingers in the world, goes to Real Madrid, and things start to change for Spurs. And it goes into from Harry Redknapp to Andre Villas-Boas, and then from him to Tim Sherwood, I believe. And then after Sherwood was Mauricio Pochettino. And I'm saying all this to say, when Mauricio Pochettino took over, it was 15, 14. I'm probably a little later than that, actually. But either way, when he took over, it was kind of like this is whenever I started to get very serious about watching them. Like before, it was hard to watch all the games, but I think it was right around the time NBC started to take over everything. We were able to watch every game, and I was just like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's watch every game. Let's be fully in to this Spurs thing. Let's go head first. We're with the new coach, new players. Like this is it. And we were sold the dream. I think as an American audience, obviously I'm not British. I don't look British. I don't talk British. I'm not British. If you're British and you love Spurs, it's because you were probably born into it. You were probably someone who your father's father's father liked them, and that's why you like Spurs. Not for me. I chose them just because they looked like the lovable loser and that they were doing good stuff. And I made that decision. And whenever Pochettino came in and they ended up getting Moussa Dembele, Christian Eriksen, Harry Kane, Hong Sung-min, like it was an amazing group. And they fought as a team. Everything was awesome. They never won anything, but that wasn't the point. It was the point that we had a team. We had the atmosphere and everything. That's all we could feel on this side of the pond. You go to the games, if you went to White Hart Lane, you know how it is. I didn't know that. All I felt was like, damn, this is really cool to see what this team can do, that they're fighting as a team and that they're really going to war for each other. And then all COVID stuff happens. Pochettino gets sacked, and it's just like Spurs tried to change things. They tried to recreate what they did whenever they found a diamond in the rough, Harry Kane, who changed their entire history, or recent history anyway. And it's just never happened. They end up going from Pochettino to Jose Mourinho, and then to Antonio Conte and Nuno Espirito Santo, and then to Thomas Frank, and then now we're with Igor Tudor, and nothing is working. No signings are working out. So it feels like the reason I got into the team was the soul of the team. They felt cool. I liked that they were a team that was together. I liked that they had some fight and some grit, and now everything's gone. The players aren't playing for the badge. The coach doesn't care. He's obviously he came in and he's just basically shitting on the team the whole time. They're like, hey, what's wrong with Spurs? And he's like, where do you want me to start? I'm not at a bar. I can't tell you this. Like it's more than the players is what I'll tell you. He's been there for not even a full month, and he's already saying this stuff. One of the best stadiums in the world, yada, yada. It's just not there. The heart of the team is gone. And now, as an American fan of Spurs, or just in general, football in general, you know that there's promotion and relegation. But if you picked a team that's in the top half of the Prem, that you've never really had to worry about relegation, or it's like it's never really been a thing. It's like, yeah, it's cool that it can happen, but it like never happens to any of the good big teams. I mean, hell, even Everton never got relegated since we started watching this a lot more, and they've been close, but they never did. And I just have a very big feeling the way that this team is playing, the way that they're moping around and not really giving their all. It just feels like they're wanting to go down. And for what reason, I couldn't tell you. Maybe probably because they can get out of their contracts or whatever. But it just feels like this is the time, Vic. It feels like Spurs are actually going to go down. They suck. Everything's bad. The coach is bad. The owner is nowhere to be seen. The CEO is horrible. Vinay Venkatesham. The sporting director and Johan Lang, he's not doing anything for this team. There's nothing about this team that you can look at and say that they are going to get out of this. They're going to fight their way out of this. There's no heart. There's no soul anymore. It's just a shell of what it was when we started watching it. And again, I get it. If you're from England, you're like, oh, shut up. Like we were born into this, like blah, blah, which is my point. We chose this club because of what it was. We weren't born into it. I didn't have to choose this club. I did choose this club because of what it was. And it's not that anymore. And now I'm literally Googling, like, how do you watch the championship? Like, do I have that subscription? Because I'm going to fucking need it. It's good. I'm going to have to check it out. And, it's a crazy thing. And my rant's over now. All I will say is that as an American sports fan, relegation is not, it's foreign. No, we don't know what that is. We know what it is, but we don't know what that's like unless you've liked, like, I don't know, Fulham, Newcastle, Villa, like one of those teams that's been kind of up and down recently. But for a Spurs fan, for sure, I have no idea. I don't know what that's like to go down to the championship. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise. It's kind of like you go down and the ship sinks and then they have to like take it out of the water and everything gets thrown out and they have to completely revamp the ship. I'm hoping that's what it is, because right now there's just nothing to like about this club other than the fact that I chose it and mama didn't raise no bitch. I'm not going to jump ship ever, but it's just so grim and not fun to watch Spurs right now, Vic. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I have all the kits in my closet of all the legends that I've loved from this club for the past decade plus. And it's just not there anymore, man. I don't like it. But what I will say is there's some stats here. And this, if it didn't get bleak enough, this is from The Athletic. The numbers make for grim reading. Tottenham are winless since December and have lost 5 top-flight games in a row for the first time since 2004. They've conceded at least 2 goals in 9 successive matches. 2 goals in 9 straight matches. They've earned 10 points at home this season. Vic, there's been almost 20 games, 10 points at home this season, which is the second worst record across the top 4 divisions of English football. They're only better than Sheffield Wednesday, who's the team that we just said is the team that has all this financial distress, and they become the first team in history to be relegated as early as February with like -7 points. That is the only team who has less points at home than Tottenham Hotspur. That's how bad Spurs are this season. And if you didn't know, Crystal Palace supporters, they were chanting, "Say hello to Millwall," as they beat our ass at home. And Spurs were just walking off with their heads down. Not a good time, Vic. It's not fun. I'll tell you that much. But you know what? Being on this podcast and hanging out with my bros, it makes it a lot easier because it numbs the pain. Because as much as I love Spurs, I love this game. And I have other teams that I can watch. I have my little pet projects. It's not the same, but you know, it's like watching Austin FC win after the Dallas Cowboys lose or something. Yeah, it's like a little bit of reprieve. So, okay, I'm done, Vic. Anything you want to say? You want to make me feel better about this?
Nothing to make you feel better. Millwall's in 4th, actually, so I think they'll be here next year, and y'all won't.
Fuck you.
No. I feel for you, my boy. It's pretty close. I told you earlier, I saw the table and y'all were only 1 point. I was like, oh my God.
Damn, it might actually happen. I'm so curious as a fan of a team that like it's just such a foreign concept for American sports. I'm just genuinely curious how this works. If Spurs go down, like what happens? How does this, like, you just, hey, I have to be there for a year and then we just come back after we win the next league? Maybe that'll be fun. Just win every game, you know, but maybe that won't happen. I don't know, man.
Just have to go to timeout.
At least I heard that they expanded next season the playoffs to 6 teams. So that's good. Spurs don't even have to be the best team in the championship. They can still find a way to get through. But maybe I'll be cheering for Wrexham in the Prem, you know, or Everton. Or Everton.
Oh yeah, no, you better not. Sorry, God. You have no reason to go for Everton.
They're just cool, you know. I like my boy Iliman Ndiaye. Who's the other guy? Kieran Dewsbury Hall.
I don't want to hear it.
Dewsbury Hall. Okay. DJ,
it's a pretty cool name.
Play our music. Take us home.
Well, everyone, thank you for taking some time out of us and hearing that heartbreaking story from Snooze about Tottenham Hotspur. Please be sure to like and subscribe on all of our social medias. Everything is at No Business Soccer Podcast, except for TikTok, except for Twitter. That is at No Biz Sock Pod, because those things are way too damn long. Everyone, enjoy the football this weekend, and we will talk to you all very soon.
Peace.
Rip Tottenham.